We're going to talk today about data centers and the role that data centers play, with the focus on Ashburn, Virginia. Commonly called Data Center Alley, it boasts more than 143 data centers and handles a significant portion of global internet traffic. Issues of security, energy, even water consumption grow in tandem with quality of life. If there were a significant natural disaster like many hurricanes and earthquakes and fires are, right? So what is the impact of that proximity of so many of the data centers upon our ability to access the internet? What you learn when you dig into data centers is that you really need all four elements, okay? You need to have physical plot of land, right? Industrial size, industrial size style. You need that plot of land, the earth, right? Ethernet or fiber connectivity, communications connectivity. You can't have a data center without data getting into and out of in multiple varieties. Lots and lots of electricity to power the data centers, and water. Water is essential. Data centers consume about 4% of American electricity right now, all right? But there's some projections that could rise to 12%, tripling of electricity use. It's a bifurcated world between what's sometimes called the hyperscalers, the big tech companies that have huge operations, and the multi-tenant operators of data centers. You used to look at your data center where people were. Now you're locating them where you have energy available to you. Instead of looking for the place and the earth, the air, the fire, and the water in one place, looking instead for where you got lower costs of land, where you got lower costs of energy, and then just connecting more of them. There are economies of scale as we're piling up, but at the same time, there are really needs to decentralize, and maybe even strong, resilient needs. We cannot have the internet without data centers at some level. For a long period of time, like the last decade, up until 2 or 3 years ago, those who were using and promoting the growth of the internet, big tech companies and others, and the telecom companies that serve them or serve the data that serves their needs, have been basically saying, look, yeah, we know we're starting to use more data, we're starting to use more internet, we're starting to use more connectivity, but don't worry, we're going to take care of all this energy with renewable energy. This is where we're beginning to see nuclear. Nuclear is making a comeback. Now, an article in The Economist this past week highlighted how it's conceivable that 40% of the economic growth that America's seen in this year, 2025, is from AI and data centers. There is some increasing consumer awareness that what is the cost of running a query on an AI tool versus, okay, a Google search, right? What's the energy use? And to the extent that those things get economized, get put into a cost-benefit analysis, I think that's all to the good. What needs to happen, I think, is a healthy ecosystem. As our digital infrastructure becomes more engaged with our physical infrastructure,